My name is Abdul Arif. I'm connected to several businesses. The main one, of course, is my law office, where I practice law on a daily basis. And then the second organization I'm associated with is Mayflower Clinic, which I'm the founder and chair. It's a nonprofit charity that gives away medical care for free. I'm associated with at least half a dozen real estate ventures that have built and are in process of building several hundred apartments, shopping centers, and things like that. I'm still sole owner and operator of a business that's now 43rd year in business, Alterations by Sarah. So that's really how I got started. So I came to the United States at age 16, approximately 1976 or so. So my first job was a dishwasher at White's Cafeteria in Town East. Then one of the fellows associated with Cessna saw me moving kind of fast, so he took a liking to me and offered me a job. I worked for Cessna about a year and a half until I got laid off. This was 1980 by now. When I got laid off, I had a child already and another one on the way, and the wife, Sarah, was working at Henry's department store. So she was a seamstress there. And then she knew something about tailoring and alterations. So we started doing this out of our home as just a side hustle, if you will, until I found another job, which I never did. In between, I was mowing lawns and had a lawn service and trash service type of thing. And then the wife and I started this Alterations by Sarah business in Town East Mall. And that was summer of 82. So we grew from 1 to 10 locations. And in between, I owned and operated gas stations, hotels, motels, laundromats, just anything and everything. Until 2002, when I got divorced, I went back to school. Did my GED, went to night school at Southwestern College. Then I went to law school in Michigan. Then I graduated, passed the bar. Then I came back to Wichita while the business was still there. Was divorced, and all the assets really belonged to her, but she took a pity to me and gave me back one of the shops. And then I started, law practice, and then during this time, one real estate deal here, another real estate deal there. And then in 2012, I got into restaurants. So my first restaurant venture was I purchased Passage to India, the restaurant, and then I purchased Avivo's Brick Oven Pizza. I purchased Donut Hole. And then I started a shopping center and a sports bar, tight end sports bars, Kellogg and Seneca. I mean, it's just a blur. I can go on and on, but I owe it all to Alterations by Sarah, where I really, at age 19 is when we started that business. And I'm almost 65. So that business still continues. And this is really the source of my network and connections to the entire Wichita community that's really, truly benefited immensely. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I do have, very qualified, very able people that work for me and really understand my personality that, I can't wait to get started on the next shiny object. And I'm not even quite done with whatever I have, but I want to jump to 5 different things. It's about the excitement and the thrill of the chase. That's really it. Why do you do it? Because the endorphins that kick in when you're chasing a deal and creating a value out of nothing That is exciting. You really truly understand what motivates the customer. And then you figure out the best way to meet that customer demand. And that's really it. There's no business is separate. And it's about managing client expectations. Same thing in the business of law. When clients come in, they're under a great deal of stress. They're about to lose their freedom or lose their money. You got to manage his expectations. Most important, you got to be honest. And then say, this is what I can realistically do. This is what I will try to do my best. And these are the outcomes. Real estate is the single largest source of wealth building. It's not sexy, it's not very fast, but it's consistent, slow, and always there. My most important mentor in my life was a gentleman by the name of Jared Wormhout. He was a partner at Fleecing, it's a big law firm downtown. He was really my mentor and teacher. In the advice he gave me was not really real business related, but it was really with human experience. And he says, treat people as individuals, not as groups, not as tribe, not as religion, race, or ethnicity. Treat people like people. That sounds very simple, but it's really hard to follow that, because when you see a person, whatever ethnicity, you almost automatically default to your settings in your brain as to what the stereotype is. The way the person dressed, the color of his skin, his ethnicity, his background, his language, his mannerisms, everything about that, you have default triggers in there. Empathy is the highest form of knowledge. Opinion is probably the lowest form of knowledge, because everybody has one. Not everybody has empathy. Treating people with empathy is probably the single most undervalued asset people can have. The overarching quality an entrepreneur should have is simply never, ever, ever give up. Persistence more than anything else. Just simply, it's almost like a psychological condition. The more people told me no, the more I wanted to do it. So it's not even important what needed to be done. It was more important for me is to prove somebody wrong. And then that's kind of a stupid way to look at it. The older I get it, why would I even need to prove anything? But that's the motivation that propelled me for many, many, many years. And I realized that, I don't really have to do this. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care if people think I'm a failure. It's okay if people think I'm a failure. But I think that's really what drives that, the fear of failure, fear of what somebody will say. But I think that's not that bad a deal. Just be persistent, believe in it. Persistence, persistence, persistence. That's really it. You look at tech entrepreneurship. Silicon Valley, more than 50% is started by immigrants. The tech entrepreneurship is off the charts, immigrant driven. I mean, there are lots of reasons. Number one reason is most of them are not native English speakers, and they don't have their educational accomplishments from wherever they're from are not readily recognized here and not even readily applicable here. So what did they have? They have no choice but to go to entrepreneurship. Because the access to normal job market is not there for them as readily. They have English issues, they have accent issues, they have many issues that every typical first generation goes through. But the drive and the passion for the opportunity we call America is passed on to their kids, and their kids are just, whoa, they get a hell of a head start with that. See, because there's a good, unique nexus of socioeconomic trends, and history too. History, socioeconomic, and entrepreneurship. Really a good, nice mix. You could tie it all together.